that's the kind of guy you want there. You know, that's the guy who knows what it's going to take to get there. He's just ready to give it up because he knows he can do it. A lot of characters on the team. You've got the pump-up guys that you need. You know, you've got the grinders, guys who'll always just do the work.
I've learned something from everybody. Starting a whole new cycle, you know, you kind of look at the squad and you might not like everybody and you don't have something in common with everybody, but you know, you learn to appreciate everybody and everybody teaches you a lesson or two about themselves and about yourself.
I would say in the past year I've learned a lot from Henrik Rummel. He just is pretty level-headed, and it's an important thing, you know, for training for the national team is to be really, really consistent in everything you do. There's no off days, there's no sick days.
I do appreciate the fact that most of our team comes from all over the country and from all different backgrounds. You have guys who've been rowing since they were freshmen in high school or didn't start rowing until halfway through college. You know, you have so many different backgrounds, and you just learn that there's so many different ways that you can be successful.
I just think everybody brings a little something to the team. Big Steve, he's 32, he's the strongest he's ever been. He's a good reminder that there's no substitute for just hard work. Mike Gennaro keeps a lot of liveliness to the team, likes to pump up the crowd, which is good. And then Ambrose Putman, he's a monster, but you'd never know it because he's soft-spoken and just, you know, a real nice guy.
In the boat, I think Henrik Rummel teaches me the most. I've rowed the pair a lot with him this year, and I mean, he's very experienced. He got bronze in 2012 at straight four, so he has a lot more boat feel. He's extremely strong. He can really like enforce a rhythm in a boat.
It would probably be Steve Kasperzik, because he's been doing this for a long time. For a long time, he was doing it on his own, so he has a pretty good idea of how to keep yourself level-headed, I think. I remember talking to him one time after a workout like that, and he was like, oh, well, you did something really well earlier in the week. And I was like, yeah, well, today was bad. But he's like, well, you still did something better this week than you did last week.
Steve Kasperzak's one that I would reflect on only because he was with us through that whole pre-2012 Olympic selection period. It was like a 6-month just dark place of just grueling training and selection. And then we made the boat. We went to the Olympics and we missed it. And it was very close and great racing and everything. The whole experience was phenomenal. But I remember someone asking him afterwards, when we were training again, and they said, well, why are you still doing this, Steve? You're like 31, let the young guys take care of it. He was just like, because I didn't get a medal. He said, we were there, we could have gotten one, we were good enough to get one, and just on the day it didn't happen, and now I have to go 4 more years because of that 0.3 of a second. I just looked at him and was like, Steve, man, you are 31 and you committed 4 more years of your life because of 0.3 of a second.
I mean, you learn a little bit from everybody. Just being around other people working hard, just sort of seeing what motivates different guys.
I think Seth Weil is probably the teammate that I've learned the most from. Seth is not one of the younger guys in the team, but since his debut on the national team, he's definitely come out guns blazing. He's someone who brings positivity and work ethic every day at practice.
Ambrose and I live together, so we definitely have a lot of back and forth about training and rowing and living. I've definitely learned a lot from Ambrose, certainly.
I learned a lot from Seth Weil, my roommate, because he kind of started rowing from the complete opposite end of the spectrum. I started in a competitive high school program and then went to Washington, and he started at UC Davis. And so he kind of had to learn rowing, I guess, almost by himself, for himself a little bit more.
So as far as rowing skill goes, Henrik has taught me the most up to this point. We spent a long time in the pair together, and that was my first time sweeping at this level.
I'd say probably Charlie Cole. Him and I have been rowing since, I think the first time we raced together was when I was 15 in Mexico in 2003. And we've been just racing against each other, either in the same boats or competing for the same boats, since then. And it was actually interesting because the first boat we were together in was a straight 4 in 2003, and we were our first foray into like away from our high school teams and competing against people nationally. And then the last boat we were in was in the London Olympics where we won a bronze. So it was kind of it's been a fun journey.
I think you learn stuff from every teammate, you know, especially me being the coxswain. You know, I interact with everybody, you know, in different days and different boats, or from the 8 guys that were in the 8 last year. You know, everyone has their little differences and opinions, and they, you know, everyone brings something from where they went to college or where they rode in high school, their journey up to the national team, and you know, you can take little parts away from everything.
The one commonality with everyone is just the effort and intensity and joy that they bring to their work. It's like the work ethic.
I think Gennaro's taught me a lot. I think I'd known him beforehand, but I really started to get to know him during the Olympic selection. And I just think I remember showing up to the boathouse, you know, early morning, kind of dragging, kind of feeling sorry for myself, and he'd always be there just chatting it up and loud and, you know, in living color like he always is. And so I think he kind of taught me to kind of keep that positive attitude every day, you know, day in, day out, even when you really don't feel like it. It always helps to keep the spirits up a little bit.
I'm most thankful to have Grant on the team. You know, last year, I started the year down in Oklahoma with Vol. He broke us up into pairs, and I am a nightmare to row a pair with. It's a disaster. I want it to be perfect. I need it to be perfect, and if it's not perfect, it's probably not my fault. And there's only one other guy in there that has to put up with me, and Grant just found a way to deal with me. And in doing so, he taught me a lot about myself and how I behave as an athlete, how I need to change as an athlete to kind of be more compatible with people. The patience he had. I would love to hear him talk about what that experience was like, because it had to have been terrible for him.
It's a tactic to kind of rowing with him. He gets very emotional, and I think some of that times it comes out as anger and frustration, and people can take it the wrong way. I always shrugged it off and kind of laughed. He was always stroking, and I sat behind him, so he can't see me back there, but I'm always smiling at him.
We seem to figure out the pair well enough to get second at the first NSR, and then that's kind of how we both ended up in the straight four this year.